Disvana ayasmantaṃ anandaṃ etada voca. Etu ko ayasma anando. Svagataṃ ayasmato anandasa. Bhagavato upatakasa. Bhagavato santika vacharasa. After he saw them, he said to the Venerable Ananda, "Let the Venerable Ananda come. Greetings to the Venerable Ananda, the caretaker of the Blessed One, the one who lives near the Blessed One." So here we have disvana. This is the absolutive from, again, the hypothetical dusity, to see. Here, having seen, or after he saw them coming. Etada voca, this comes up a lot. Avoca is the third person singular aorist, active indicative. He said etad, or etang, etad before a vowel. He said this, ayasmantaṃ anandaṃ. Again, ayasmantaṃ is accusative, as is anandaṃ, both accusative singular, masculine. We've said this before, but keep in mind in Pali, you can say something someone. You don't say something to someone. We might expect like a dative case here, but this takes like a double accusative construction. So having seen them approach, or after he saw them approach, Sariputta, I'm just putting that in here to be clear, said this to the Venerable Ananda. Now we probably could even leave out etad in our translation and say that he said to the Venerable Ananda, and then what we have in quotes. This is up to you, dear reader, whatever you think is the best handling of this situation. Etu is the third person singular imperative, tense or mood. Sometimes these are described differently. In English, I think we typically reserve the imperative for second person. You do something, you, singular or plural, do something. In Pali, we have as imperatives also first person and third person. And it's not in this sense a command. I think the technical word would be the hortatory subjunctive, like if it were in Latin. Here it's imperative, but let. We could put the word let in there. And this etu comes from eti, which means to go, and has a cognate in Latin. I think in Latin it's eo, and it's even in parts of verbs like exit. So we would say exit, he, she, or it goes out. And if we wanted to translate this ko, maybe something like indeed, just intensifying. Ayasma anando, here this is the nominative. So the nominative case, because this is the third person imperative. So that's why we say let the Venerable Ananda come. It's not, Ananda is not an object of the verb here. Then we have svagataṃ. Now svagataṃ means greeting, and it's sort of very similar to our English word welcome. This is su and agataṃ. At first this might look like gataṃ, gone to, but this is, and it's related, but this is agataṃ from agachati, to come. Su means well, so welcome, and su before the becomes sva or swa. Incidentally, this is the same swa that we find in the word swastika, and this even shows up relatedly in the Thai expression for good morning, arun sawat. Now here, the welcome is followed by the dative case, ayasmato anandasa. So, welcome to the Venerable Ananda. We've now had the nominative, the accusative, and the dative of ayasmant. But Sariputta goes on to describe Ananda with two other adjectives, upatakasa. So, upatakasa is in the same case as anandasa, because it's an adjective. Upataka is a caretaker or a personal attendant. Greetings to the Venerable Ananda, the caretaker. And then we have Bhagavato. And this Bhagavato is the genitive, the caretaker of the Blessed One. And then we have Santika Vacharasa. Again, the dative from a compound. Santika Vachara is from Santika, vicinity or presence, and avachara, living with. Now, this compound, and actually many compounds, I should say, and I haven't said in the past, is really analyzable in two ways, and they're both correct. One of them is this is a tapurisa. So this living with, like in the vicinity of, we have to understand santika as locative to some extent, and avachara, living with. But taken together, since they're describing Ananda, this is actually a bahubihi compound as well. So just keep in mind, especially with bahubihi compounds, they can themselves be seen as other types of compounds. So we see why Ananda is held in such high esteem, or at least one reason is because he lived near the Buddha and was his attendant. I think we've mentioned before that at the beginning of suttas, when you hear Evang me suttaṃ, that me refers to Ananda. Ananda is the one who heard these suttas because he was always near the Buddha.